Jermaine, when are you traveling again? What up, YouTube? It's your boy Jermaine back with another video. This video, I thought I would answer a question I see a lot in live streams. All the time I see this one. I see this one in comments too. But this is the same question. Jermaine, when are you traveling again? Or, Jermaine, what's the first country you're going to travel to after this lockdown? So I thought I would just sit down and make a video just talking about traveling, going places, going to different countries. And a lot has changed this year in 2020. A whole lot has changed. And let's just jump right into this right now. So first off, let's just use the example of social distancing. It's not in play for a long time, okay? Like social distancing is not like a law where like airlines have to social distance people, because if social distancing becomes like a law and and airlines like have to social distance people, expect for flights to go up quite a bit, okay? But as of now, there's like kind of a weird scenario going on with flights because airlines, their main cost is fuel. And right now, the cost of a barrel of oil is very, very low. So airlines can sort of operate and have less people on the flights, like as of today. But if the price of oil continues to go up, they're going to have to raise their prices because of, it just costs more to operate a plane because the fuel is higher. So this is one scenario. And as of now, there's like not a lot of flights flying. I checked just yesterday, just May the 4th. Flights were down 93% for the previous May 4th. 93%. That's insane, yo. That's like insane. Okay, so that means that there are like basically no one flying right now. And you guys know why and you guys totally understand why no one is flying right now, because we are in this pandemic and we got this situation that we are all in this together. We're trying to fight through this and we're trying to overcome this. But as of now, we have watched air travel just come to a complete halt. We've watched air travel basically almost come to a complete halt. There's so many aircraft that are grounded right now. There's so many airlines, like especially in Europe, there's so many airlines that are like partially like shut down, like just not even operating. Maybe they're operating like 2 flights, and those flights are like flights like bringing supplies and stuff like that, and like very few people flying because there's a lot of people that are afraid to fly, and there's also a lot of people that are afraid to sort of go to another country and then possibly things flare up again on their 2-week trip and now they're stuck in another country. I mean, there's a lot of things to be concerned about here. There's a ton of things that could be concerned about. So let's just talk about this one for a minute here. Okay, so my guess, I'm going to use 2 scenarios because I think that maybe travel could really, it could just be really slow this year, and then possibly next year things pick up and we see things go back to normal. But the question I see a lot is how much, and I don't see this in my on my YouTube channel, but I see this in a lot of Facebook groups, like a lot of travel Facebook groups, because I'm in a lot of travel Facebook groups and stuff like that. I hear people concerned about like our flights, are the prices gonna just go up? Because now there's all these new measures, and if social distancing is in play long term, like if social distancing is just a thing on flights from now on, will there be like budget airlines and stuff like that? And I thought I would just talk about this one for a minute. Okay, so if flights are grounded for let's say for half of this year, right? And then sort of the travel seasons start to pick back up. I would imagine a lot of the budget airlines, like we're going to use Europe, for example, because there's tons of budget airlines in Europe, but like Ryanair and stuff like that, they'll definitely survive. One cool thing about budget airlines, anybody who want to travel and you want to go to a lot of countries like myself, like I want to travel to 100+ countries, dude, you're going to really, really need budget airlines, because budget airlines really bring the cost down. And one very, very cool thing about budget airlines is they sort of figure out very interesting and very creative ways to save money. Like one way budget airlines make a ton of money And I've never really heard about a lot of other YouTube channels say that budget airlines make money like this, but this is one thing I found out. So what a lot of budget airlines do, like Ryanair, they'll place like an order for like 100 Airbus 737s. And I'm not talking about the MAX. I'm talking about like this order that they did like right after September the 11th. They placed this large order for 100 like aircraft. And whenever airlines place a large order like that, they receive a bulk discount. Also, when airlines buy brand new planes, those airplanes that they buy are fuel efficient. They're like the most fuel efficient planes because it's the most modern, it's the latest plane. And once again, the largest cost to airlines is the fuel cost. So if you're saving tons of money on fuel costs and then you're buying all these planes at one time, you're getting like a massive discount. Okay, so what a lot of budget airlines do, they'll buy like all these planes, 100 planes, right? And they'll fly them for a couple of years, fly them like crazy, make money. The passengers love, flying on a new aircraft. Like, I mean, I like flying on a new aircraft. I hate flying on an aircraft from, 30 years ago. It just doesn't feel right. A new airplane feels great. So what a lot of these budget airlines will do is after a couple of years, they'll turn around and sell their aircraft. Their aircraft that they got in the bulk order, they'll turn around and sell it and actually make more money than what they paid for it in the bulk deal. And then they also been flying it for a couple of years. So budget airlines figure out like creative ways of making money. And what I could sort of imagine that can happen, like if this stretches out long enough, a lot of airlines would probably just go out of business. And what I mean by long enough, let's say that things started to pop up and things started to like people start to travel more next year, like summer of 2021. I would imagine by that time, a lot of airlines would have just went out of business. Now your large carriers, your large like flagship carriers of different countries and stuff like that, maybe they won't go out of business just because they will receive a lot of money from like governments. But the problem with airlines receiving a lot of loan money from governments is they're going to have to pay that money back. So when things do go back to normal, airlines are going to be like strapped for cash because, yeah, people are flying and all these other airlines have went out of business. But now they're going to have to pay back so much money to different governments. And then that also brings up another point with airlines, because once again, when we go back to budget airlines, one way they make money is they will sell old aircraft like after they've received a discount on them, and that's a large revenue stream for budget airlines. But if we're in the scenario of we're not flying for like a year and a half, well, there's going to be a lot of planes that airlines are going to be trying to sell. And I'm not talking about just 737s. I'm talking about like all types of aircraft, like long range aircraft. Like a lot of budget carriers, they don't have long range aircraft. They have a lot of 737s, like a lot of medium range aircraft. Like in most budget airlines don't operate long flights, like the long flights, like long haul flights, like going from San Francisco to Barcelona. I mean, there's a few that operate those flights, but like, okay, budget airlines going from, London going to South Africa. Like there's just not many, there's certain budget airlines that go to certain locations. So I would imagine in the future, if this thing holds out long enough, we're going to see a lot of airlines go out of business. Okay. And we're going to see a lot of planes up for sale at low cost. So what we also could see is later on down the line, we could see like new budget airlines pop up just because there will be so many airplanes just sitting around because so many companies have just went out of business, just went belly up. Also, another thing about the budget airline model in Europe versus the US, a lot of the budget airlines, they fly to different airports. Like they fly to airports that are like outside of the major city. And once again, that cuts their costs down quite a bit too. So to just really get down and just answer you guys' question, Jermaine, when are you going to travel? And what's the first place that you're going to travel to? Well, that's sort of a really difficult question to answer because, like I say, a lot of flights have been grounded and a lot of flights have been canceled. And I believe the next country I will travel to will possibly be Canada. And this is very this is kind of like random because I sort of wanted to save Canada for later. I wanted to like literally travel to 100 countries and then go to Canada because I thought it would just be a joke. Just to be like, yo, I've been to 100 countries and I live in California and now I'm in Canada, you know? So I thought that Canada would be cool to go to like next because Canada is very close. Like I could go to Canada without getting on an airplane. I could literally take a train, or I could just rent a car and drive all the way to the border, return the car, you know, cross the border, go over to Canada. I could just do it that way, you know, and, you know, less contact. I can keep the social distance thing. Or I can, or I don't know, maybe I could possibly fly to Canada if things are better in the future. Now, I'm just very worried about the whole travel industry, because if this lasts for a long time, what you're going to have people doing is you're going to have a lot of unemployment rates throughout the US and throughout Canada and throughout Asia. And one thing that budget airlines have done, budget airlines have actually created a brand new customer. That's what they've done. They've created a brand new customer. They've created a customer that's not the business traveler. They've created a traveler that's like, look, I can get cheap flights. I'm gonna go travel once a month. You know, I'm gonna go 2-3 days here. I'm gonna go 2-3 days there. I'm gonna go, you know, a month here. You know, they've made a brand new customer. And if this, like I said, if this goes on for like a year and a half, people are just gonna adapt and they're gonna get used to doing different things instead of, you know, people thinking of, yo, let's go cross country to Europe. Maybe people think, yo, let's go to the lake in like Northern California that's like 3 hours away, you know? Or maybe people will do things differently, like maybe buy like a second lake house, or maybe buy like a second home, or maybe get an RV or something and take road trips like close by. And that's one thing I notice about the whole travel industry, and I really don't want it to like change and go to crap. Another interesting thing about the whole travel industry is hostels. Like, how will hostels work? If you guys are not familiar with me, if you're new to my channel, like I said, I travel a lot, and a lot of times I stay in hostels because hostels are really cheap and it's really easy to meet people like in hostels when you're backpacking, traveling in a foreign country alone. And I'm just wondering, will like hostels be the same, you know? And also, there's countries that are very reliant on tourism, like very like heavily reliant on tourism. If we look at Las Vegas, it's a city in the US that is very, very highly reliant on tourism. Like, they need people to fly in on airplanes. They need them airplanes packed. They need people to take taxis and buses, and they need people to go to them casinos and spend money, and they need people to go to them restaurants and eat. You know what I mean? It's like a tourist country, like a tourist city. But there's entire countries that are like that. Like, there's so many countries where they get money from tourism. And when there's no tourists there, people are just not making money. Like, they're just not making money. And oh my gosh, like there's just so many places, like so many amazing places that I travel to, like around the world. And I'm just wondering, like, how are people coping and how will things be in the future? And like I say, I can't wait to travel. If I could just pick any country to go to, like if I could just, you know, pick any country, maybe I would go to possibly South Africa or Australia, just because Australia hasn't had as many cases, and Australia is very much like California. You know, these people speak a lot of English, and it's, you know, the Australian dollar is falling and stuff like that. So I'd probably want to go to Australia or South Africa, two places below the equator, which is kind of random. I thought I would throw that out there. But anyway, I don't exactly know when I'm going to travel again. I have basically canceled all of my plans up until August, and looks like I'm not going to plan any trips for the rest of this year. So possibly next year, to answer everyone's question, but who knows? Who knows what will happen? Who knows? Who knows? You may just click on here one day and I may just be traveling, going to some random country, just doing it like I used to back in 2019 BC. And when I say 2019 BC, I don't mean before Christ. I mean before Corona. But anyway, if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. If you guys like this video, give your homeboy Jermaine a thumbs up. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, yo.